Warren Buffett's net worth is $84.5 billion. But here's the part that will actually break your brain. 81.5 billion of that came after his 65th birthday. Our brains are literally hardwired to fail at this. We are evolved for lions and berries, not exponential math. We have been told wealth is about being the smartest person in the room. But if you think that, you have already lost it. You are being blinded by a linear lie in an exponential world. This isn't a video about spreadsheets. It's about the screwed up emotional person behind the money. And that's you, and that's me. Today I'm giving you the 6 psychological shifts that need it to stop playing the wrong games and start building $1 million mindset. I'm going to show you why the most rational plan is often the greatest danger, and why a doctor who won a Nobel Prize for injecting people with deadly disease is the ultimate key to your financial freedom. So this is the man who won a Nobel Prize for something that should have landed him in prison. Julius Wagner. Zorek. Notice the pattern? Syphilis patient. That sentence back then recovered if they caught a massive fever. He didn't just suggest it, he went bold. He started injecting patients with low-end strains of typhoid and smallpox. People died. It was a horror show until he settled on a weak version of malaria. It triggered bone-rattling fevers that killed the syphilis. Why does this matter for your bank account? Because a fever hurts? It's miserable. It's rational to want to be in pain, but it's reasonable if it's the only way to survive. Academic finance is the spreadsheet. Reality is a bedroom where you need to sleep at night. Look at Harry Markowitz. He literally won a Nobel Prize for the math behind modern portfolio theory. But when he invested in his own money, he didn't use his models. He split it 50 by 50 between stocks and bonds. Why? His own words. I visualized my grief if the stock market went way up and I wasn't in it. Or if it went way down and I was completely in it. He wasn't maximizing math. He was minimizing regret. You think big wealth requires massive force. It doesn't. It requires only fucking time. Look at the ice ages. Meteorologists discovered it wasn't brutal winters that covered the planet in ice. It was moderately cool summers. If a summer never gets warm enough to melt the previous winter's snow, the ice accumulates. A tiny leftover base attracts more snow and eventually wham, you have a mighty thick ice sheet. Investing works the exact same way. Jim Simons, the head of Renaissance Technologies, is the greatest investor alive. He's compounded at 66% annually since 1988. Buffett, about only 22%. So why is Buffett 75% richer than him? Because Simons didn't find the stride until he was 50. Buffett has been at it for 3/4 of a century. It's not the returns. It's the billion-year history of compounding. Now, what's the point of the money? Psychologist Angus Campbell found the universal fuel of joy. It isn't your house size or your job title. It is the sense of control over your life. Money's greatest value is the ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. So, I used to think investment banking was the dream. Then I realized that being a slave to a boss's demand makes a high salary feel like a prison. True wealth is dividend of time. In 1999, Yahoo's stock was trading at zillion times revenue. Long-term investors call it a bubble, but for a day trader, the price was rational. If you're just trying to squeeze a few bucks out between breakfast and lunch, the valuation doesn't matter. The catastrophe happens when you take cues from people playing a different game. In 1999, the average mutual fund had 120% annual turnover. They weren't thinking about the next 20 years. They were thinking about the next 8 months. If you're a 30-year investor but you're panicking because of a CNBC commentator, you're taking directions from a map of a different city. Pessimism sounds smarter than optimism. If I tell you stock will 10 times grow, you will call me a salesman. If I tell you an accounting fraud is about to tank the economy, you will clear your calendar to listen. We choose pessimistic stories because they feel like protection. We choose appealing fictions because they feel like a hope to us. Pessimism is seductive only because money is ubiquitous, which means if the economy drops, everyone feels it. Second, it's extrapolation. We assume if oil is scarce today, it's gone tomorrow, forgetting that market adapts to it. And the last one is speed. Destruction happens in second. Progress happens too slow to be the news. So now, important takeaway over here is expect things to be bad. If you expect volatility, you will be pleasantly surprised when things work out. Imagine an alien observing Earth in 2007 and then 2009. The factories were the same, the knowledge was the same, the tools were the same. So why was the world's $16 trillion poorer? Because the story changed. We believe appealing fictions because we want them to be true. As Ali Hazaji told the New York Times after his son went through a ritual fall remedy, when you have no money and your son is sick, you will believe almost anything. In finance, the more you want something to be true, like 100% return a week, the more likely you are to believe a story that overestimates the odds. So now for here, leave a room for error. Your plan shouldn't just work if you are right. It needs to work even if the story you believe today is a total fiction. Remember the Wright brothers? They flew in 1903. Do you know how long it took the world to notice? 5 fucking years. It wasn't until May 1908 that the public finally woke up. True progress is quiet. Building wealth isn't a math problem, it's a behavior problem. Here is your weekend execution checklist. First, identify your game. Are you a 30-year investor or a 1-year flipper? Stop taking advices from the other side. Second, automate a reasonable rate. Not the highest, but the one you want. Stop when the world feels like it's ending. And the final one, build a margin of safety. Acknowledge that you are a screwed up person. Keep enough cash to survive your own emotions. So, real wealth isn't the car people see in your driveways. It's the options and the time you haven't used yet. So, that's all for today. And we are building a community of people who are done with the spreadsheet game and ready for a long game. Drop a comment below. What game are you currently playing? Are you in for the 30-year marathon or just trying to survive the next 3 months? Let's talk about it.